Gretch, you and I recently returned from a long trip together. We were in England, and as much as we loved being here, there was nothing better than coming home, especially if you love your home, which we both do.
Yeah.
Wayfair makes it easy to create a space that you love, a space that just feels relaxing, where you want to sit down, read a book, take a nap. It is the place to shop for everything from living room seating to bedroom furniture to just anywhere cozy that you want to snuggle up in. I love going into a Wayfair and looking at everything from the furniture to the throw blankets.
Wayfair is the go-to destination for everything home, no matter your style or budget. It's good to come home when you live in the Wayborhood. Visit wayfair.com or download the Wayfair app. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home.
Are you trying to figure out what to eat for dinner yet again? With Knorr's sides and bouillon, you can whip up delicious and nutritious weeknight dinners in no time.
Yes, I am the biggest fan of Knorr bouillon and of Knorr taste combos. Knorr taste combos are a menu of delicious, affordable, and well-balanced meals that you can prepare at home in 30 minutes or less. Knorr is the not-so-secret ingredient, from its bouillon to its rice and pasta sides that brings major flavor to delicious home-cooked meals. Visit Knorr.com to make your own delicious taste combo. It's not fast food, but it's so good.
Hello, we're here for More Happier, a podcast where we get more happier. Join us for some weekend listening. We're kicking back and having some conversation with a bit of a looser vibe. Hey, Elizabeth.
Hi, Gretch.
So today we will be having a conversation that we've been looking forward to for a long time. Maybe a short time. Feels like a long time.
Yes, Gretchen, this is something making both of us more happier.
Oh, yeah.
We are getting to talk to our guide from England, from our Wilderness England trip, Jeremy Martin, who we absolutely adored and who was the best guide.
Yeah. So if anybody missed the backstory, in partnership with Wilderness England, we went on a guided hiking trip. It was 6 nights, 7 days. We left from Penrith and hiked around Northumberland and the Lake District. And Jeremy was our guide in every possible way.
Yeah, he was our social director, our history teacher, our coach.
Yes.
And just generally a delightful person to be around.
Yeah. And it was great to just hear about Jeremy. He's from New Zealand. He is one of these adventurous outdoors people. He loves to camp solo as well as to guide trips. He likes sea kayaks. He had absolutely extraordinary energy, Elizabeth. It really lifted us up to just see him bounding around.
He kept us going for sure.
And if you want to hear the episode where we talk about our insights, hacks, and observations for our hiking trip in England, that's episode 493. And if you want to hear the voice memos that we recorded along the way as we were going, which was super fun, that is the July 27th More Happier episode. And I'll put links to those in the show notes for this episode. But if you want to go back and hear more, you can. Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, Gretchen.
Hi, Jeremy.
Nice to see you again.
It's so fun to see you.
So good to see you. I wish we were with you in England right now.
Yeah.
It somehow feels like it was about 2 or 3 days ago, not how long ago was it? A month ago?
Almost,
like
yeah.
Hard to believe. Yeah, it was so fun. We keep talking about it. We had so much fun.
Great. And how are you both?
We're good. And we're so glad
Good
that
stuff.
we get the chance to actually sit down and ask all the bigger questions that we thought about after the trip.
Fantastic.
So, Jeremy, on the podcast, we've talked about considering whether you want adventure or comfort in travel. Now, for Gretchen and me, this was definitely adventure, the trip that we did with you. For you, it was not adventure because you are incredibly adventurous.
Yes.
But you meet so many people who are on different kinds of trips. How do you think about the notion of adventure versus comfort? I remember one thing you kept saying to me is, this is a vacation, not a competition, because I would be lagging, which I appreciated. But that kind of falls into that category.
Sure. Well, can I first say that it was actually an adventure for me because it was definitely comfortable, but I don't think they're mutually exclusive. Because I
Mm,
don't know what the dictionary definition of an adventure is, but for me, there were so many variables. Like I didn't know what your personalities were going to be, didn't know what your
right,
abilities were going to be, didn't know what the weather was going to be like. That I didn't
right.
know what the outcome was, and so in a lot of ways, it felt quite adventurous to me. But I did feel comfortable. I've got to admit. So I don't think you can have necessarily always one or the other. I think you can be comfortable and adventurous. Saying
Hmm.
that, some of the biggest adventures of my life have actually been when I was uncomfortable, thinking at the
Hmm.
time, oh, why am I doing this? This is hideous. But I've always got to think, I'm probably going to look at this tomorrow or next
Yeah,
week or maybe in 10 years and think, actually, that was fun. That was an adventure.
right.
So I think we talked about that, didn't we? Type 1 fun and
Yeah,
type 2 fun. So type
yes.
1 fun is when you know you're having fun, and type 2 fun is when you think, this doesn't feel like fun, but perhaps I'll look back and it will feel like fun in the future. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah, definitely adventure. That trip for me, like for example, I still, even though I've done these types of trips for 20 years or so, I still have slightly sleepless night the night before because I don't know who I'm going to have. I don't know what's
Uh,
going to be happening.
That's interesting though, because we were thinking of adventure in terms of like the hiking and the challenge of the physical part. But of course, a huge part of the adventure is the other people. And
Yes,
that is the biggest wild card of all. Like
Yes.
you kind of know what Cat's Bell is going to be as a hike, more or less, but the people, you don't know what you're going to get. So you're right. Anytime there are other people involved, that is a big adventure.
absolutely. Like the cat bells, the hill will never change, but every time I walk it with a different group, it's a
Yeah.
completely different experience and it feels adventurous every time as a result.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of the things that you said just in passing on the trip is you said that hiking brings out the best in people, that you felt
Yes.
like you saw a really good side of people in your encounters with them. Why do you think it is that hiking brings out the best in people?
I've got this idea that we evolved to work together as small groups.
Mm,
Like people often say, "Oh, nobody makes eye contact with me on the underground in London, and everybody's
mm,
just doing their own thing, and they've got their noses in their phones and books." But I don't think we're really wired to necessarily spend a social time with thousands of people or millions of people. We're wired to spend
yeah.
time in small groups, hunting and gathering in small groups. So I think sometimes when we find those situations, we start to resort to teamwork that we wouldn't normally do in other situations in our lives. So I think the small group dynamic is a big part of it. I work a lot
Mm,
with school kids,
Mm.
mm-hmm.
and I can hear from the teachers that they could be really difficult in the classroom when they've got, or in the schoolyard when they've got hundreds of fellow school kids around them. But when I see them with their classmates in a small group on the water, and all those social barriers have gone, and no social media, and it's a real social leveler, instinctively they start working as a team, which is kind of quite an uplifting part of the job. So sometimes you have to realize that when you're having a difficult time, it's okay. And if you can see somebody else is having a difficult time too, suddenly you've got a commonality that you don't really necessarily see in other times. And instinctively, I see people wanting to help one another.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Sort of related to that, Jeremy. So I hike
Yes.
this place in LA called Fryman Canyon. I go all the time with my friends, and we say that it's walk therapy instead of talk therapy because
Nice.
we always seem to have deep conversations and really connect. And there's something just about walking outside, even in the
Sure.
city, that causes that. Just people to confide and the walls to go down. So, do you notice on these trips that people who don't even know each other tend to have bigger conversations? What's your take on that?
Yes, I do. Well, on a guided trip, which is kind of a special type of trip, isn't it? Because you're thrust into a
Yes.
situation with strangers. But I think there develops an unwritten rule that what is shared on the trip stays on the trip. So I think that
Mm,
creates a nice, safe environment for
Yeah.
sharing. Plus, it's quite intense, isn't it? Like
Yes.
you're seeing people at their very best and their very worst, and often you're fighting a common foe, which in our case was the weather for the first half of the trip. And because of that, you can cram some quite intense experiences in a short space of time. And the actual time, I think I probably spent more time with the two of you in the week than I would spend with some of my best friends in 10 years.
Yes.
So
Right.
it's a lot of time, isn't it?
Yes, that's true. And, it's
Yeah.
funny, people often remark on the fact that we will often confide an important secret to a stranger or like a loose acquaintance sooner
Yes.
than we will a close friend. And I think part of it is if somebody's a close friend, there's consequences to you telling them something. Like, that they know, and they could tell other
Yes.
people. But if it's somebody
Yes.
who's from a completely different place, has no social connections to you, it feels like the connection of telling somebody and having somebody respond to you and engage with you, but there's no consequences to it in your larger life. And I think sometimes that makes it easier as well.
Absolutely. A lot of my guests on trips, I'll spend every waking minute with them for a week and then perhaps never see them again in my life. So I think without it being said, we kind of know that when we're out hiking, and it creates a very safe space. What I'm saying, I'm also thinking that when you're hiking, the purpose of being there is the hiking, isn't it? It's not the communicating. It's not the sharing. And so if you had to sit down face to face and talk to somebody for a week, it would not be the same experience. But because we know that we're there for the hiking, the sharing can sort of just come when it seems right. You can stop talking for half an hour. That's totally fine. And then you might feel inspired to say something. You can test that person's reaction and then come back to it if you want the next day. But it's not like you're there to communicate, find out about each other. It's all about the hiking, and the communication's a nice sort of side to it.
Well, this reminds me of how people say that if you want to talk to a teenager, it's better to do it in the car because you're not face to face, the music's on, you kind of drift in and out of conversation. You know that it's going to come to an end. So the teenager knows that they're not going to be stuck with you for 2 hours. And so there is something about different circumstances foster different kinds of communication. So it's interesting. It's almost like because it's not about the communication, you feel more free to communicate. It's counterintuitive.
For sure. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, that's a really good analogy. We were just a bunch of teenagers driving around England, weren't we?
Right. That's right. With our backpacks.
As always, what's true for kids is usually also true for adults.
So true.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
True.
Okay, well, coming up, we're going to ask Jeremy about being such a great leader. But first, this break. Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It's a device that measures your metabolism through your breath. And on the app, it lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs and gives you tailored guidance to improve your nutrition, workout, sleep, and even stress management. All you have to do is breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, and you'll know what's going on with your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fat or carbs.
And then Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for that day based on your measurements. Lumen is so easy to use. Elizabeth, I'm fascinated by the subject of metabolism. I love anything that gives me more insight into what's going on with my metabolism. I find it very easy and interesting to use. So if you want to take the next step in improving your health, go to lumen.me/happier to get 15% off your Lumen. That is lumen.me/happier for 15% off your purchase. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this episode.
Okay, so Jeremy, you are such a good leader. We have talked about it ever since. We've been telling everyone we meet what a great leader we had. You're such a good listener. And what we noticed is you immediately won the trust of the entire group. So,
right away, instantaneously.
Now, do you have any reflections or insights for someone who's trying to create that kind of environment in a group? Because I think you're uniquely skilled.
Yeah, if someone's trying to step into that role and do it really well and create that atmosphere among a small group. Do you have any thoughts?
Sure. Well, that's very generous to say what you said. I like to think, hopefully I gave that impression immediately, but it can be something that I feel like I've got to work on, perhaps for the first half a day or so, actually trying to instill confidence is something that I'm actually thinking about quite a lot during that first half a day.
Interesting. Okay, so you are consciously thinking about that. So
Oh, yes.
Hack one is pay attention to that. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so, and I do have a few techniques. I do find that people are going to believe me and trust me if I can, I guess you could call it, show some sort of vulnerability. Like if they ask a question and I really don't know the answer, I'm super happy to say, I'm not sure. Maybe I can go and Google it. Maybe I can ask if we're at a museum, for example. I can find the right volunteer who can give us the answer. And I think if I do that, people then, penny might drop. They might realize, oh, okay, Jeremy's going to be honest if he doesn't know, which suggests if he is telling us something, it's probably going to be the truth rather than something he's trying to sort of come up with an answer on the spur of the moment. Yeah. I don't try and dwell on it, but if I've got any relevant experience to the trip in the past that I think could make people feel more comfortable about where they are, and that's perhaps even without making a list, even talking about some of the qualifications or courses that I've done that have led me to where I am 20 years later into the career, guiding the lot of you around. But I guess if I can describe the enthusiasm that's led me to this career, it usually ends up becoming a description of the things I've done and the qualifications I've got and why I do it and why I'm passionate about it. Also, being a leader, of course, is not all about showing what you can do yourself. It's also being able to involve other people and bring all their strengths to the team as well.
Yes.
So I will very early on the trip say, hey, if anybody else has got anything else to add to the trip, or if you happen to have any expertise in geology or botany or whatever it may be, it'd be really great for you to bring that, and I'll humbly take it on board, and it'd be a pleasure and a privilege to hear it. And yeah.
No, in fact, I can think off the top of my head a couple times, like we were in the town of Keswick, and one of the people on the trip had been there many times, and you're like, oh, okay, she's going to lead us through Keswick because she knows it better than I do. Or
that's right. I did, didn't I?
Yeah. And it was, and it is nice because it's nice. I think people really do have kind of a flash of pride, or like, oh, I have something to contribute. It's a good feeling to think that. One of the things we always say on the podcast is people love to learn, but they also love to teach and share. People love to share what they know.
They do.
And so you're inviting them and highlighting that they might have something that other people would be interested in or finding useful. Yes. And that creates a nice atmosphere for everyone.
For sure. And I'll actually, I do frame it with a question near the start of the trip about what experiences do you have? What trips have you done with Wilderness England in the past? What are you hoping to get out of this trip? And then it feels like we're all in this together, and we're a team. And I happen to have the title of leader, but we all feel valued and we can bring something to the team.
Right. Okay. Well, one of the things that we did, and Elizabeth will vouch for me that I did not work this in. It arrived somewhat organically. We got everybody to take my 4 tendencies quiz pretty much around the table at dinner one night because people can't resist a quiz.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I talk to people for the rest of the time about their tendencies, which is one of my favorite things to do. And you took the quiz, Jeremy. And I have to confess, I was super interested because I could imagine you being several of the tendencies. Often somebody is just like blaring to me one particular tendency. And for you, I was like, I could see him going in a couple different directions.
I thought he would be an upholder.
Yeah, I could see that, but I could also see rebel, a super highly motivated, disciplined rebel, because sometimes rebels look like upholders. I don't know. But anyway, reveal all, Jeremy.
Upholder sounds so virtuous and rebel sounds so exciting, but I was neither of them, was I?
You're the biggest tendency, so tell everybody what you are.
I'm very obliging. I'm an obliger, and I'm proud of it too.
Yes,
good.
Of course.
I am too.
Yes,
Liz, good to hear.
Yeah. Well, so it's interesting that the minute I was describing it, you said, "Oh, that's my tendency." So you knew it. I think before you took the quiz. Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, but I promise I didn't go through the questions thinking, I think I'm an obliger, so I know the answers to make me an obliger.
Yes,
I put a great deal of serious thought into every question. I'm
It's
still
good.
blaming.
People tell me they try to game the quiz and then they keep getting the
Yeah.
same answers. So it's funny.
Yes.
It's
And
funny.
as
That is
always,
funny. Yeah.
people's tendency even reveals itself in taking the quiz. We had one person who kept questioning, why
Yes.
is this quiz
Yes.
important? Why does it
True.
matter? Why is this the wording? And we
Yeah.
figured, okay, she's a
Yeah.
questioner.
She's a questioner. Yeah.
Don't even need to take the quiz.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Jeremy. Well, we love to ask people for a try this at home tip, something simple they can do every day to be happier, more creative, more productive. Do you have a try this at home tip for us?
It may not be possible for everybody at home, depending on your circumstances, but I suggest at least once a day you pat a dog, or this is a health and safety tip. Ask the person what the nature of the dog is. Maybe even give it a big cuddle, because dogs are great and they can lift your spirits, and they really need us. So it makes you feel wanted and needed.
Oh, that's so true. Both of us have dogs, and all the research shows that dogs and cats make us happier, but we were surprised, and we had a dog growing up, and like you say, petting them, holding them, there's just that physical part of it, as well as just their enthusiasm for seeing you, which of course is always a big morale booster.
Oh, absolutely. They're great for your ego.
Yes. And I mean, being out and about in England, I could not believe how many dogs there were. It is a dog country, clearly.
Yes.
Oh, for sure. Lots of dogs became a bit of a theme of our trip across England, didn't it?
It really did,
On the trail, in the bars, in the restaurants.
Yes.
Yeah.
We even were lucky we got to see the dogs actually herding sheep.
Yes, from afar. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
That was a treat.
And doing their thing, like, professional dogs. Sheep herding. And Elizabeth, we saw the dogs on the train on our way to Penrith.
Yes,
there were a lot of very happy dogs. Well, Jeremy, this was so fun. Thank you so much. We had such a great time with you, and it's great to get this chance to say hello again.
Gretchen, the pleasure was mine. Thank you, Liz. You two are brilliant. You should come back and do another trip in the Cotswolds, or I'm in the Isle of Skye on Scotland. In Scotland at the moment. So perhaps you can come up to Scotland.
Yes.
There's a big storm outside.
We would love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many places we want to go now.
Yes, we want to go all the time. We absolutely loved it.
Great. Love to see you again. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jeremy. Coming up, we've got a spotlight on a tool and a quotation related to our trip with Jeremy. But first, this break. Shifting my wardrobe from summer to fall is always a challenge. Luckily, Quince offers timeless and high-quality items I adore, ensuring my wardrobe stays fresh and I don't blow my budget. Gretchen, both of us absolutely love Quince's Mongolian cashmere sweaters, which come in so many great colors. My goal for fall is to get the green color that you have.
Yes, Elizabeth, I brought that green sweater on our recent trip together, and you were eyeing it. Quince has cashmere sweaters for $50, pants for every occasion, washable silk tops, and so much more. And the best part, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Make switching seasons a breeze with Quince's high-quality closet essentials. Go to quince.com/Gretchen for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/Gretchen to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Gretchen.
This show is sponsored by MIDI Health. There are great things that come with age, wisdom, experience, a love of gardening and holiday decorations, to name just a few. But if you're a woman over 40, it can also bring some less desirable things. Hot flashes, insomnia, brain fog, moodiness, and weight gain. All symptoms of menopause and perimenopause. I have friends of all ages, and I have been hearing about these symptoms for years.
Yes, hormonal transition is a fact of life, but that doesn't mean you have to accept its symptoms as just another part of aging. MIDI clinicians are menopause experts equipped to support you with safe, effective, FDA-approved medications, as well as lifestyle coaching and preventative health guidance. All their services are covered by insurance, and they're conveniently accessible through telehealth visits and 24/7 messaging. You deserve to feel great. Book your virtual visit today at joinmidi.com. That's joinmidi.com.
I want to let you all in on a little secret. As a family, we used to waste hours a week going up and down the grocery aisles for the best, freshest fruits, vegetables, and meats, and still be disappointed. Now we use FreshDirect. We love FreshDirect. We save so much time every week. We can grocery shop from the office, from the couch, anytime we want. We've used it for years.
FreshDirect is farm to kitchen, food sourced directly from farmers, fishermen, and ranchers and delivered straight to your door. For over 20 years, FreshDirect has been delivering the freshest fruits, vegetables, and meats to the tri-state area. Don't take our word for it. Try it to believe it with $50 off your first order. Go to freshdirect.com and use code HAPPIER. That's freshdirect.com, code HAPPIER for new customers to save $50 on their first order. Terms and restrictions apply. See site for details. Okay, Gretch, we're back with a spotlight on a tool.
Yes, I wanted to spotlight my 5 Things newsletter because if you like the insights and the boosts and the hacks and the observations from this podcast, I have even more to share if you subscribe to my 5 Things newsletter. You just go to gretchenrubin.com/newsletter. It is free. It is a weekly newsletter. It's got things that are making me happy, practical tips, if I see interesting research.
Don't more than 1 million people subscribe, Gretch, me included?
They do. Thank you, Elizabeth, for being such a good sister. Yes, it's more than 1 million people. So it's a great way to think about how to be happier, healthier, more productive, more creative, just a lot of observations. So again, it's gretchenrubin.com/newsletter to sign up. One of the great joys of my life is finding something and thinking, ooh, this would be perfect for my newsletter. So it's so fun to share.
Excellent. And Gretch, what is our quotation this week?
Well, this is a quotation that Jeremy read to us, I believe, on our last day, our last hike. And it comes from Shakespeare's play, Richard II. And it's one of the most famous passages in all of Shakespeare. This royal throne of kings, this sceptered isle, this earth of majesty, this seat of Mars, this other Eden, demi-paradise, this fortress built by nature for herself against infection and the hand of war, this happy breed of men, this little world, this precious stone set in the silver sea, which serves it in the office of a wall, or as a moat defensive to a house against the envy of less happier lands, this blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England. Winston Churchill liked that passage too. No one will be surprised to hear. So Elizabeth, are you feeling more happier?
Yes, I am feeling more happier. Thank you to Chuck and thank you to Jeremy Martin and everyone at Wilderness England. Get in touch. Gretchen's on Threads, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram at Gretchen Rubin, and I'm on Threads and Instagram at Liz Craft. Our email address is podcast@gretchenrubin.com. And for everything related to this episode, links, photos, and more, go to happiercast.com. Bye, Gretch.
Bye, Elizabeth. The best time to start a happiness project is 20 years ago. The second best time is now.
And Gretchen, Jeremy also was so good-natured about all the dietary restrictions in our group.
We had a lot, yes.
I always got you meat and cheese wherever we were.
I was a low-carb person, but I wasn't the only one that had something special about the way we ate. Yes, he was very patient about that. From the Onward Project.
Hi, and welcome to IKEA. How can I help?
Oh, my schedule is crazy. I just want some me time.
Maybe it's time to embrace the joy of staying in. With comfortable beds, pillow and decor, mood lighting, and so much more, you can turn your bedroom into the place to be.
Oh, sounds like a dream.
We've got you. Visit us in-store or at ikea-usa.com/sleep to create your dream bedroom today.